Respected brothers and sisters, all praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has given us the opportunity to start our day with His house. We ask the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the khair of this day and protect us from all types of evil. As we talked about the importance of fasting in preparation to the month of Ramadan, and we went through two categories of fast. Number one is just to fulfill the obligation by staying away from those things which Allah has forbidden to be done during fasting. And that is the fasting of staying away from eating, drinking, and desires of this human being from a certain time to a certain time. Then we will move on to the next category of those who don't just fast by staying hungry, but they also fast by protecting themselves from disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the fast of the tongue, the fast of the eyes, the fast of the ears, the fast of the rest of the body part of this human being. How he is going to govern and how he's going to make sure that these body parts are also staying away from the disobedience of Allah Azza wa Jal at all time, and especially during the course of fasting. Otherwise, it has a heavy impact on the fast of this individual. As the Prophet ﷺ said, that many people fast, but they don't get anything from their fasting except hunger. The third category of fasting, which is considered to be the fasting of Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam, which has nothing to do with the physical aspect of fasting, which is to connect your heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the extent where the things of this world do not matter to you anymore. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he stopped the Sahaba to fast consecutively, continuously, without having to do iftar in the middle, the Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, but you fast consecutively. فَإِنَّ رَبِّي أَطْعَمَنِي وَيَسْقِينِي. That my Lord feeds me and He gives me water to drink. That is the fasting of not just the body or the body parts, but the fasting of the heart. That during the course of your fast, there is nothing that comes into your mind and heart which takes your focus away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That a person goes into a different mode, he goes into a different dimension. That this fast that he is doing, it's taking him through the journey of akhirah, through the journey of the hub and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is what is earned through fasting. A person is staying hungry, a person is not eating, he's not drinking, he's not doing so many other things. He's staying away from disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when a person is able to gather all of these things, his set of mind, his heart develops another ability inside. And that ability connects him to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where throughout his day and night he visualizes the matters of akhirah. A Sahabi radiyallahu anhu was resting in the Masjid, Haritha radiyallahu anhu, and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam came and he shook him and he said, Kayfa asbahta ya Haritha? That, oh Haritha, how do you wake up this morning? What is the status of you? And this is something that we all need to ponder upon. That apart from our physical needs being fulfilled, apart from our physical things are being okay, and a person is able to physically function, what is the spirituality of this individual at the time when he wakes up in the morning? So Haritha radiyallahu anhu said to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, asbahtu mu'minan haqqa. That I woke up this morning in a stage that I am a true believer. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Haritha radiyallahu anhu, لِكُلِّ قَوْلٍ حَقِيقَةٌ فَمَا حَقِيقَةُ قَوْلِكَ. That every statement has an evidence. And what is the evidence of your statement? I mean, a person is claiming that I woke up this morning in a stage of complete faith, a true believer. And this is something very hard to claim. This is something very hard to claim. So Haritha radiallahu anhu says, Ya Rasulullah, I spend my day fasting. But there are many people in the world, they spend their days fasting. What makes you different than others? And then he said, Ya Rasulullah, وَأَسْهَرْتُ لَيَالِي, I spend my night in the ibadah, waking up and crying in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And throughout my day and night, I can visualize, I can see how the people of Jannah are being accepted and going into paradise. I don't see people around me. I see the people of Jannah. And I see the people of hellfire. That how they're crying, how they're running away from there, and how the people of Jannah are running towards Jannah. This is what I see in my fasting. And that is the fasting of the heart. The Prophet ﷺ said to him, he touched his heart and he said, Mu'minun nuwwira qalbuh. This is a believer whose heart has been enlightened with faith. And that is the ultimate, the greatest fast that a person can do. Where his not only body parts or staying away from food and drink, but his heart is connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that comes through stages. And this act cannot be developed when a person is not completely away from major sins. And not only major sins, but also starts to stay away from minor sins. Today, unfortunately, our stage is that we are not even able to get over the major sins, let alone being focused on our minor sins. We don't even know minor sins exist in our lives. There are so many things that we do throughout our day which are in the category of sin, but we don't realize that sin is being committed. To the extent that the major sin is being committed in our life and we're not even aware of that major sin happening. So there is a process. This is why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لِلصَّائِمِ فَرْحَتَانِ. For a fasting person, there are two happinesses. The first happiness he receives when he breaks his iftar. That is not to be happy about your samosas or barbusas or whatever. That is to be happy about that Allah gave me the ability to finish one obligation. A believer gets happy when an ibadah is complete. When he is able to finish something that he started, that is the greatest amount of happiness that believers should have. And that would make that ibadah accepted in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because there are many people who fast, but their fasts are not accepted. And that's what we want to make sure. It's not about, okay, I've done this. I've already did it in the morning. I didn't eat the whole day and now I'm iftar time. My fast is accepted, and as if you've done a favor to other people by fasting. But the reality is that we come out from the worldly aspects of fasting and we get into the spiritual aspect of fasting. And that is what is our goal. And this last category of fast is the fast of Anbiya alayhimus salam, which a believer should try to get to. And when a believer starts and he makes that effort to get to that fast, then fasting becomes something else for him. It brings the fruits that you can never imagine. It disconnects you from the things of this world and it connects you to Allah. Things around you do not matter anymore. If someone is taking away something from you or giving you something, it doesn't change the condition of your heart. And that's what we need to get with our fasting. Of course, we're going to start from step 1, step 2, step 3. And it's going to go through a process. And this is the time that we need to ponder upon things that I can avoid during my fasting. Things that I should not do while I'm fasting. Because Ramadan is shaping your rest of the year. How you want to spend the rest of the year until the next Ramadan. What you want to be doing and what you want to be staying away from. And Ramadan is the month of practice. That I'm going to practice on these things so that when the month of Ramadan finishes for the rest of the year, I'm able to maintain this in my life. And that thing needs to happen throughout the month of Ramadan. So inshallah, as we start the course of fasting and the approach of the month of Ramadan, let's try to develop these good qualities inside our life so that we are able to maximize the benefit and we are able to maximize the beauty of the month of Ramadan. Because when that heart is fasting, then Ramadan becomes something else for you. It brings you the fruits that you can never imagine. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to grant us the ability. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst the fortunate people who are able to gain these goals in the month of Ramadan. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdi.